Radha Vinod Bihari Ju ki jai. Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju ki jai. Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupa Rashata Rashata Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Srila Gurudev ki jai. Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupa Rashata Rashata Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupa Rashata Rashata Shishimar Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitya Pravishtam Vishnupa Rashata Rashata Shishimar Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Nitya Pravishtam Vishnupa Rashata Rashata Shishimar Bhakti Rakṣaka Śrīdhara Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki jai. Todiya Shubha Avirbhav Titi ki jai. Nitya Pravishtam Vishnupa Rashata Rashata Shishimar Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Nityal Pravishta Maha Bhagavat Śrīla Gaurkishora Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Nityal Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Śrīla Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopala Bhattadash Raghunath Shar Goswami Prabhu ki jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda ki jai. Namachay Śrīla Haridas Thakur ki jai. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय. श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल व्रज मंडल मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय. सर्व अभिष्ट प्रदात गिरिराज महाराज की जय. श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जय. श्री यमुना देवी गंगा देवी की जय. श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय. श्री भक्ति देवी की जय. श्री पूर्णमासी योगमाय की जय. श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय. श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय. श्री कार्तिक व्रत की जय. दामोदर व्रत की जय. उर्ज व्रत की जय. उर्जेश्वरी श्री विश्वभानु नंदिनी श्रीमती राधा ठाकुरानी की जय. श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय. समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय. श्री वीरचंद्र प्रभु की जय. तदीय शुभ आविर्भाव तिथि की जय. Śrīla Bhakti Rakṣaka Śrīdhara Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki jai. Tadiya Shubha Avirbhav Titi ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Cool. We just read about Veerachandra Prabhu a couple days ago on Narottam Das Thakur's day. So if you want a little something to read about him, Srivas just translated something from Narottam Vilas, which you can find on his website, bigdrum.us. Thing that stuck out to me is how he kept a little giriraj in his and a little golden, what do you call it? Golden, it's a samput, so a little golden chest. And then he would take giriraj out, offer him bhog, and then put him back inside the chest. Haribol, Rukmini Didi, Dandavat Pranam, and Raseshwari Mataji, Gargaraj ji, Ganga Mataji, Madhavi Didi. Haribol, everybody. Jai Ho. Okay, so I actually had forgotten that it was Śrīla Śrīdhara Gosvāmī Mahārāja's appearance day today until Mangal Arati time. I heard them, they said his name during Jadvani. And so there's so many things to read. I had a hard time choosing which thing to read because there's so much. But I decided the Panacea would be a good article because it's, anyways, such an important topic, not finding faults in others. So we'll read that now. Let me find it here. Okay. This was published in Raise of the Harmonist, Kārtika 2002. The Panacea, or this is excerpts from the Panacea by Śrīpāda Bhakti Rakṣaka Śrīdhara Gosvāmī Mahārāja. And we'll see if there's time at the ends, then maybe we can read a glorification of him by Śrīla Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Gosvāmī Mahārāja or somebody else, Śrīla Bhakti Vallabha Gosvāmī Mahārāja. We can see what there is. Okay. The disease. Ill-fated are those who are very eager to find fault in others and who have no time to find fault in themselves. The other side of your necessity is not to find defects in others, but to find their attributes. Why do you allow yourself to engage in fault and finding fault? There is ample place to find goodness in the devotees. Why are you not engaging yourself in that association? So that's the disease, the diagnosis. Why is there the tendency to find fault in others? Could there be a more faulty person than yourself? Why do you engage yourself only in seeing the lower rather than fixing yourself in the higher? Upon doing so, you will find that the devotees are of a higher quality than yourself. Why not attend that section? Why, unfortunately, do you go to the lower section with your attention to find fault? On one side, there are beautiful flowers, and on the other side, there is rubbish. Why do you inspect the rubbish instead of all the beautiful flowers? The treatment. You yourself stand in the witness box. You are the criminal. You are the culprit. Why should you look at the rubbish? How many beautiful flowers are there? You see injustices, but you do not see justice? Why not merge to the positive portion? If one hand is working and the other is paralyzed, shall I only attend to the diseased part, giving no attention to the working hand? I must care for the paralyzed hand, surely, but what already has full capacity, I must also utilize that. Why are you always why are you always looking towards feeling the pain of the diseased part and continuously preaching this, ignoring the healthy parts? On one side, there is good. God is there. Why do you go to Satan and keep company with satanic persons only while they're, why do you keep company with satanic persons only while there are godly persons? Why not go to God's side? On one side there is heaven, and on the other side there is hell. God has no fault, yet by the fault of Satan we must suffer. God has no fault, yet by the fault of Satan we must suffer. That reasoning has got no logic. You are suffering from your own misdeeds. That is the real logic. Neither God nor Satan is responsible for that. Therefore, concentrate on your own self. Pray to the Lord and try to keep aloof from Satan. Capital holdings. You are holding a marginal position. Your limited free will is your capital. You should always utilize that towards the godly side, taking it away from the satanic side. This limited capital that you have, you are to begin your business with that. But you think you'll begin a business when you get a good capital? This is imagination. Whatever little capital I've got, I shall start my business with that. My attention, my energy will help me in the future. My attention, my energy in the future. The best benefit of limited consciousness. A man on a journey has an accident and loses consciousness. But when he regains a little consciousness, what will he do? He will utilize that consciousness, telling, "Take this body to my guardians. My home is there. Oh friends, carry my body to my home." That will be the best benefit of the limited consciousness which returned to him. He was able to use his good knowledge. Whoever will take care of this body affectionately, it will be put under their care. That's a really good example. So whatever awakening we have in consciousness, we shall utilize that by putting ourselves in the care of godly persons. Only then is there value of devotion to God. Those who know the value of devotion to God, near relations, they will appreciate this inner awakening, and they will take care of our devotional self, sadhu sangha. Medicine or our own attempts cannot heal us. The doctor advises us to make a change. Then the air and the water will naturally come to help improve our health. So, also, the atmosphere around saintly persons improves our spiritual health. Anyway, we should always remain in the company of the devotees in the same sampradaya. That's an important point, especially now. Anyway, we should always remain in the company of devotees in the same sampradaya, the same line, but superior devotees, so that we take the lower position. Such association is most desirable for any person aspiring to progress spiritually. The gist of the advice given in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Śrīla Rupa Gosvāmī is, we are to associate with those superior to us, but in the same line of Krishna consciousness. They carry the same conception of the spiritual truth, but they are superior to me. If I engage myself even as a sweeper in that camp, it will be highly valuable for my future spiritual life. Your free will is responsible. If you look and see injustice, then who is responsible? You are held responsible. What is bad, that is your share. You are to take the whole responsibility of misdeed in your hand. If you cannot feel this responsibility, sincere. Not only you, but everyone. Your free will is responsible for all misdeeds and misguided circumstances in the environment. This is the first principle of spiritual life. What is bad in me, I am responsible for that. You are responsible for seeing, for coming in connection with that vision. There are good dealings in another sphere. Why have you come to see this misjudgment and mistreatment of so many who are quarreling with each other? There are so many good dealings, and you have not acquired a position to remain in that layer? Then why? I am responsible for all the undesirable things in me. That is a fact. My weak free will has taken me down into this present undesirable environment, and no one else is responsible. This fact you are to realize. If you ignore this, then you are in Maya, misconception, illusion. When you sincerely realize this position, then your dark days will come to an end. When you feel that only you yourself are responsible for all these miserable things, then good days will awaken for you. This is the fact. It is not only conception to achieve some end. It is not an imaginary conception to take help. It is not an imaginary conception to take help of in order to get out of the present condition. It is not like that. It is a fact. It is for everyone, whether good or bad. He is responsible. Neither God nor Satan is responsible. This is reminding me of another quote from Śrīdhara Gosvāmī. Maybe I can read it afterwards. Okay. If I suddenly find myself in the prison house, then who is responsible? There are so many culprits, so many deceitful persons, so many thieves in the prison house. If I find myself in the midst of them, then who is responsible? I have acquired that position. There is also heavenly association, but instead of that, why am I put in the prison house, where wherever I look, I see culprits? Why am I here? Why am I not with heavenly association? Who is responsible? Who? Penetrating to the root cause. In this way, I am to try and understand that I am responsible for being here. First, there must be the diagnosis, then the treatment and nursing. Nursing and treatment is good, but it must follow the diagnosis. The diagnosis is, I am the culprit, and the medicines must be applied accordingly. A thorough cure will be will be advantageous, not a patch job. Then the thorough wholesale treatment is like this. Okay, so this is the treatment, the thorough treatment. This is the the real medicine. Tatenukampam susamikṣamano bhunjana evatmakritam vipakam hridvagvapurbhir vidadhanamaste jivetayo mukti pade sadaibak. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:14-8. This is probably one of the most commonly, maybe the most common, no, Anyabhilashitashanyam would be the most common verse by my Gurudev, but actually maybe this is up there. I probably put it in the top 5 shlokas ever quoted by my Gurudev. My dear Lord, one who earnestly waits for you to bestow your causeless mercy upon him, all the while patiently suffering the reactions of his past misdeeds and offering you respectful obeisances with his heart, words, and body, is surely eligible for liberation, for it has become his rightful claim. This is the magical cure for fault finding. Srimad Bhagavatam recommends the magical cure. This is the diagnosis proper. Preaching must be on the basis of this truth. Otherwise, all hazard. The Srimad Bhagavatam's preaching is like this: deep penetration to the root cause of the disease. Dreamless sleep induced by renunciation? That is not the conclusion accepted by the Srimad Bhagavatam. The Srimad Bhagavatam has accepted the wholesale organic life. It is unavoidable that we can live with some. It is unavoidable that we have to live with some particular paraphernalia. Complete retirement, entering into samadhi or dreamless sleep, is also not the conclusion of life. That is a temporary arrangement, but permanent adjustment must be for him. Everything for him. Hare Krishna Suryavididi. Permanent adjustments. I am for him and not for myself. He is also holy, so accommodating and so good. I am for him, and that is my best prospect. My best prospect is with him. My best prospect is with him, the absolute good, the organic whole. And I cannot leave that. I cannot look after my separate goal. My goal must be part of the whole. Such adjustment is necessary. So if I am to live in a holy atmosphere, in an organic environment, then I shall always be cautious and careful to detect my own fault. Neither exploitation nor renunciation could give permanent solution. Dedication, the basis of dedication, the basis of dedication is that the I is not faulty. Exploitation is bhog and renunciation, tyag. Bhoga tyag cannot give permanent solution. Dedication. Karmanyevadikaraste ma phaleshvadachana ma karma phalaheturbhur ma te sangosva karmani. That's from Bhagavad Gita 2:47. You have the right to perform your prescribed work, but you have no right to the fruits. You should not consider yourself to be the cause of the results of your actions, nor should you become attached to neglecting your duties. The whole of your attention must be towards the discharge of your own duty, caring for the environment. That is my command. I am to look after that. You must give your whole attention to the discharge of your own duty. And if all the units are wholly connected to discharge their own duty, then it will be heavenly. But we would rather find fault with the environment. They are thieves, and I shall also become a thief. Should that be the conclusion? The furnace of purification. Everything here is undesirable. I may not even know the extent of undesirability in me. There are many things, there are many things underground, and they will gradually come to the surface. I shall then find, oh, all these undesirables are in me? They must go out, and they must go out, and then the real gems will come forth. The gold should be cast into the fire. When the alloy portion vanishes, is burned off, then the real gold will be visible. Now the pure gold is mixed with some alloy. So die to live. Throw yourself into the fire. Throw yourself into the fire. Your so-called ego at present is mixed with alloy, and that alloy must be destroyed by the fire of suffering. Fire means suffering, fire means suffering, and the golden gems will then come out. Alloy is not a part of your body or your soul. It is acquired. The inner soul's surup will then come forth. So if you want to live a real, proper, noble, and holy life, what you think you are at present, that must die. Physician, cure thyself. And preaching will be part of your adjustment. If this environment is not suitable, then I will try another environment that may be more suitable to me. That is a small thing. A small partial adjustment may vary differently from place to place. Anyhow, the main line must be no complaints against the environment. This is a good quote. A bad workman quarrels with his stools. The origin is he, the workman, so there is no benefit in quarreling over them. Before that was food, and in his association it became stool. So shall we preach against the injustices of the environment? Never. What is necessary you will feel from within, not as a pleasure, but as a duty. And only if it comes from above. If you find some inspiration for the cause of the higher conception, and not for your own, yeah, yeah, oops, sorry. Let me just reread that because I messed up when I read the sentence. What is necessary you will feel from within, not as a pleasure, but as a duty, and only if it comes from above. If you find some inspiration for the cause of the higher conception, and not for your own personal cause. So I don't know why I couldn't read that sentence. If you criticize for your personal interest, then that fault will come back to you. It will enter into you. But if for purification and not out of envy, you seek help from the higher, you will be purified. Otherwise, the next moment, you find yourself in the same position. I am vulnerable. I criticize something to be so bad, but the next moment, I may be left in such a deplorable position, thus becoming that which I just criticized. I know the waves of the infinite environment. I am a doll playing in the hands of the infinite. In the next moment, I may have to go from a human birth to a dog's birth, a cat's birth, or an insect's birth. They are descending into the mental system. So don't criticize. Don't be hungry to find the fault of others. But if some fault comes to you, then you may put it to the higher. I heard something like this. Whether or not it is real, I don't know. Please try to help me. No enviousness, no spirit of competition that I am good and he is bad. no mischievous motives underground. Otherwise, I shall have to suffer. So, physician, cure yourself before you attempt to cure others. This is your primary duty. Then you will really be able to cure others. This is a wonderful quote. Sorry, I took this out and I shared this quote many times. It's so good. In conclusion, bad temperament stands in the way. In conclusion, my advice is that you should try to be submissive to the of devotees. Submissiveness to them will promote your spiritual merit. We shall also pray, O Lord, my bad temperament stands in the way of my association with the devotees. Please remove it. Association with the devotees of the Lord is a primary necessity. It improves our position with the higher, so we shall always remain in prayers to the Lord. O my Lord, this bad temperament in me, this inconsiderate thinking, and this feeling concerning the outer world is disturbing my association with the higher Vaishnavas, with the higher Vaishnav devotees. They are the real source of improving our own inner wealth. So please purify me by dismissing all these tendencies in my mind which the devotee section do not ignore. Which the devotee section do not adore. We shall always try to be in such a position that the servants of the Lord will like our company and service. They will utilize me, for this is my primal necessity. If they do not like my presence due to some contamination in me, then it will be a loss to my spiritual life. So we shall have to repent. Matsamo nasti papatma na paradhi na kashtana parihare pilajja me kimve purushottama. Dear Lord, let me inform you that no one is more sinful than me, nor is there any offender like me. Even if I wanted to mention my sinful activities, I would immediately become ashamed. What to speak of giving them up? That's from the Vigyapti Panchak number 1. Bhūmo skalitapadanam bhūmireva valambanam tvayi jata paradhanam eva sharanam prabho. Just as the ground is the only support for those whose feet have slipped, so also you alone are the only shelter, even for those who have offended you. That's Vigyapti Panchak 3. These two verses are very similar to two verses in the song. What is it? I think it's Nivedana Kori Prabhu. If we slip and fall on the ground, then the ground is the only help by which we can stand erect. We cannot leave the ground. We shall sincerely pray, O Lord, I am committing a mistake regarding you. I am ignoring you, but I have no other alternative to get out of this disadvantage. Except by your help, I cannot correct myself. Under no condition can I leave you, my Lord. If I commit a mistake against you, an offense against you, still I can only be purified by your help. I have no other alternative. Please forgive me and help me so that I may be saved by your most intimate Please forgive me and help me so that I may be saved by your most intimate associates. For without their grace, I may not be able to enter your domain of divine love. It is only through the devotees that I may go. I have no other alternative. There are so many agents. If I am disappointed by one agent, then in a mild temperament, I may try another without speaking much against the priest. It is better that we consider ourselves to be faulty. To put the blame on another's shoulders is ultimately not considered to be very happy or valuable. We should try and learn to blame ourselves. What is coming from outside, I have no concern. The Lord can see and he sees everything. He is seeing who is responsible, but I won't try to put the blame on another's shoulders. It will not be fruitful. I am responsible for this disgraceful condition. I shall gain if I can find fault within myself and not complain to others about the environment. The environment should be considered to be within. The environment should be considered to be within his jurisdiction, and it is really so. If I am concerned with seeing the defect in myself only, I am concerned with seeing the defect in myself only. If I attain success, I shall try to attribute it to others, to the grace of the devotees. If there is any failure, then I shall try to find the cause within myself. Through this process, we can make real valuable progress, and that is the most universal process of progress, to find the fault with our own selves. I am responsible for this disgraceful condition, but if there is any good, then it is coming from him. He is all good. He is watching the environment and is in full control. So this is included in him, in God's party. One party, myself. Another party, God's. He controls everyone, and he is conscious of their activities. This position would be very advisable. If without looking at the faults of others, I can search myself and find out that the fault is with me, not with them, then this is the key to success in spiritual life. Srimad Bhagavatam has advised us to go on in this way. You will thrive, but when you are finding fault with others, then you will become a loser. This verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, Pam Susamikshemano, is very effective, very true and safe in all respects. It is also His grace to be able to see that the environment is always helpful to you, even in punishment. When the mother is punishing the child, it is from the guardian side. When the mother is punishing the child, it is from the guardian side, but it is for the good of the child. You will be purified in this process in time. So on the whole, the Lord and his paraphernalia are not vindictive, yet the punishment comes to correct you. They are fully aware of your defects and your real interest. They are all affectionate. You are responsible. In this process, in time, you will be purified to the highest degree. So don't go to quarrel with the environment. The environment which you are presently facing is a product of your own karma. So the environment is produced by your own action. You cannot lodge any complaint against it, as you yourself are responsible. This is true. If in this life you can accept such a truth in your sadhan, then in no time you shall prosper. Then in no time you shall prosper, because divine grace will be attracted more intensely towards you. Om Tar Vishnu Paramam Param Sada Pashyanti Surayo Deviva Chakshuratatam Tar Viprasa Vipanyavo Jagrivangsa Samindate Vishnuryat Paramam Param. The Suras, the pure devotees, always beholds the supreme abode of Bhagavan Sri Vishnu, just as the unobstructed eye sees the sun within the sky. It's from the Rig Veda. His vigilant eye, like the sun, is seeing everything, and he is omniscient. His presiding guardian eye over our heads is always looking for us. We shall be able to draw his sweet attention, his divine grace towards us very soon if we take this miraculous process of seeing the defect within us, blaming ourselves and not the outside environment. Wow. Such a powerful article, huh? I'm going to read a similar quote on this topic by Śrīla Gosvāmī. 1 second. Hare Krishna Raj Bhuvan Yadav ji. Just give me 1 second. I'm just looking it up. I think I shared it on Facebook. Let me go to Facebook really quick. What's the keyword? Concentration. Here it is. Okay, found it. Okay, let me share my screen again. Okay, so this is from Sermons of the Guardian of Devotion, Volume 2, by Śrīla Bhakti Rakṣaka Śrīdhara Gosvāmī Mahārāja. For one who has had the chance to acquire a taste and become attracted to talks of me, my activity and my movement, no other temptation can any longer hold him under its power. He becomes indifferent to all other activity. The outcome is that he can understand within that all other things bear some unpleasant reaction. Yet, although he can conceive that they are all pain-producing, he is helpless to immediately free himself from their clutches. The debt is already incurred, and his debtors won't allow him to escape. I am in the midst of so many acquisitions. It is not very easy to leave them all at once by my sweet will. Previously, I consciously incurred some obligations, and I cannot abruptly cut off their connection. They won't let me free. Tato bhajetamam prita shraddhalur dridhanishchaya jushamanas chatan kaman dukkha darkangshagarhayan. That's Srimad Bhagavatam 11:20-28. But the Shraddha, or pure devotion he has acquired from me, is of eternal nature. This Shraddha is of eternal nature. It cannot be subdued or cut off by any mundane or ordinary attempt. Despite undergoing so many sufferings, he goes on remembering me. His thinking, aspiration, and earnestness is for me. And the more he is compelled to suffer from the pressure of the environment, a firmness in me becomes more and more sure, and finally, invulnerable. And by standing the test of all these trials, he will stand and grow beyond the jurisdiction of these mundane forces. The more pressure comes from outside, the more firmness he feels in the necessity of my help to him. At that time, he turns his back to all the pains of the world, and he confronts. He begins to move onward. Whatever happens to me, I can't complain. It is in my master's jurisdiction whether he sees it fit for me to undergo these trials or not. But I won't leave my new ideal. I can't. Whatever may come, it may happen. Never mind. Still he abuses himself. What have I done? What have I done? It is rather justice that I should be tormented and troubled in such a way. It is not wrong. Really, just dealings have come to be exercised. Really, just dealings have been come to be exercised over me. Why should I have committed this wrong? I entered this wrong alliance, entered into the tribe of the Gundas for exploitation. The reaction that is coming to me is well and good. He blames himself. He does not blame the environment for troubling him, but he sees a concentration camp within. He blames his own self, his own free will and fate. That becomes the nature of his temperament at that time. He does not look to place the fault on the shoulders of others, but he takes the whole burden. Yes, the environment is doing justice to me, the traitor, the ambitious, the oppressor of the environment. When he is in such consciousness, his bhakti yoga or devotional engagement becomes more and more intense. The intensity of his progress accelerates. Jai Śrīla Bhakti Rakṣaka Śrīdhara Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki Jai. Okay, so now I think we have 15 minutes left. So maybe we can read a little something, a glorification of him by Śrīla Bhakti Rakṣaka Gosvāmī Mahārāja. Let me just go to, share my screen again. Let's go to acvani.com. This is going to be a long one, though. Maybe I'll just skip through different parts of this. Because, yeah, we don't have time to read all of this. This is a whole chapter of a book. So, okay. Below is an excerpt of Śrīla Bhakti Rakṣaka Śrīdhara Gosvāmī Mahārāja's glories from the book My Beloved Masters by Śrīmād Bhakti Rakṣaka Gosvāmī Mahārāja. Happily enduring difficulty for the service of Sri Guru. Śrīmād Bhakti Rakṣaka Śrīdhara Gosvāmī Mahārāja and Śrīmād Bhakti Hṛdaya Ban Gosvāmī Mahārāja once went to Ambala to assist in setting up a spiritual education exhibition at Kurukshetra, as per the desire of Srila Prabhupada. Being unable to find accommodations for themselves, they resorted to spending the night under a bridge, where they bared the cold weather by embracing each other for warmth and remembering Krishna's pastime in which he spent a night in the forest with Sudama while serving their guru. Wow. The natural humility of Vaishnavas. Śrīla Śrīdhara Gosvāmī Mahārāja and my Guru Maharaj, then known as Sri Hayagriva Brahmachari, once in the city of Madras, now Chennai. At that time, a debate between Dr. Radhakrishnan, who, contrary to his name, strong proponent of the school of Advaitavad, non-duality or impersonalism, and Dr. Nagaraj Sharma, who, contrary to his name, was a firm promoter of Dvaitavad, duality. So a big debate between them was published in the English daily paper called The Hindu in the form of a series of articles. Through these articles, both men put forth arguments in favor of their respective faiths while refuting the other's arguments. This continued for some time until the Dvaitavadis and the Advaitavadis of Madras decided to organize a debate between the two men under the chairmanship of a representative from the Gaudiya Math. Wow, that's cool. They're like, well, these people are, into paid, so they'd be a neutral party. They accept both things. No. Whatever conclusion the chairman would reach was to be considered the final and acceptable. It would be final and acceptable for all. When the local residents approached Guru Maharaj with a proposal to appoint a representative from the Gaudiya Math institution as the chairman chairman for the debate, he was very pleased and requested Śrīla Śrīdhara Gosvāmī Mahārāja to accept the chairmanship. In a humble manner befitting a Vaishnava, Śrīla Śrīdhara Gosvāmī Mahārāja accepted the proposal. In the meantime, he received a telegram from Srila Prabhupada ordering him to come to Kolkata. When Śrīla Śrīdhara Gosvāmī Mahārāja heard about Srila Prabhupada's message, he said to Guru Maharaj, "O High Griva Prabhu, I will not be able to accept the post of the chairman for the debate if you are absent." Guru Maharaj replied, "Although Srila Prabhupada will certainly be pleased if I were to leave now for Kolkata, as he has instructed, I firmly believe that he'll be much more pleased to hear that the Gaudiya Math was awarded the chairmanship of a debate to be held in such a great assembly of dignitaries, even if it results in a slight delay in my reaching Kolkata." On the day of the debate, Śrīla Bhakti Rakṣaka Śrīdhara Gosvāmī Mahārāja was formally appointed as the chairman. In his opening address, he humbly said, "Although I am not qualified to hold the post of the chairman for this debate, I have accepted the position in order to fulfill the instructions and desires of the Vaishnavas and the noble members of the society." When the debate started, Dr. Radhakrishnan spoke first and attempted to establish the superiority of Advaitavad. Afterward, when Dvaitavadi Dr. Nagaraj Sharma was asked to establish his viewpoint, he began his address by saying, "Because Vaishnavas are humble by nature, they introduce themselves by saying, 'Dasosmi,' I am your servant." Advaitavadis, however, being unable to attain such dignity, are always eager to proudly introduce themselves by saying, "Aham Brahmasmi," I am Brahma, the absolute truth. Indirectly referring to the humbled conduct of Śrīla Śrīdhara Gosvāmī Mahārāja, he then said, "Truly speaking, there is no need for Vaishnavas to exhibit their humility in all places." He said, "Truly speaking, there is no need for Vaishnavas to exhibit their humility in all places and circumstances." After this, Dr. Nagaraj Sharma went on to establish his viewpoints on Dvaitavad. At the end of the debate, Śrīla Śrīdhara Gosvāmī Mahārāja said in speech as chairman, "It is a fact that a person's pride becomes inflated when he associates with those lesser than himself. But such false pride can never enter a person who always remains in the association of transcendental personalities. Just as a father naturally behaves as a senior in front of his son and as a junior in front of his own father, a person who associates with those who have attained the topmost perfection, service to the Supreme Personality, no longer externally demonstrate humility by force. Rather, divine humility naturally manifests in his heart and is reflected in his conduct. But if a person associates with someone inferior to him, then pride is bound to arise in his heart." Srila Goswami mentioned this point in the article we just in one part, right? It's a small part, you mentioned the same point. Being humble is a mechanical process, but rather a natural byproduct of spiritual realization. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami referred to himself by saying, "Jagai madai hoite mui se papishta, purisher kita hoite mui se laghishta, mor naam shune je tar punyakshay, mor naam loy je tar papa hoy, emona nirghrinna more ke ba kripa kore, eka nityananda binu jagata bhitare." That's from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi 205 to 207. "I am more sinful than Jaghai and Madhai, and even lower than a worm in stool. The pious activities of that person who hears my name are completely destroyed. Anyone who utters my name commits a sin. Who in this world but Nityananda could show his mercy to such a vile person as me?" Srila Rupa Goswami, the foremost authority of the realm of bhakti, has expressed similar sentiments. "Adaropyaparadhanam aviveka hatopyaham tvat karunya Shosmi Prasiddha Mai Madhava. That's from Stavamala, Volume 1, the Pranam Pranay Stava, verse 14. Although I'm a mine of offenses, and although I cannot tell right from wrong, I still hope for your mercy. O Madhav, please be merciful to me. Sri Madhav Saraswati, a Vaishnav Kavi, a Vaishnav poet from South India, has expressed his humility as follows. Jnana valambaka kechit karma valambaka vayang tu haridasanam datrana valambaka. Some are inclined to Gyan, and others are inclined to karma. We, however, are inclined to take shelter of the shoes of the lotus feet of Sri Hari's servants. By analyzing the humble expressions of such great, one can clearly understand the actual position of the impersonal Advaitavadis as compared to that of the Dvaitavadi Vaishnavas. The former of the two groups possesses the self-conception of Aham Brahmasmi and Pasha Baddho Bhavet Jivaha, Pasha Mukta Sadashiva. A person bound by the ropes of Maya is a jiva, but when he is released from those bonds, he becomes Sadashiva. While members of the latter group conceive of themselves in the following manner. Majjanmana palamidang madhukaitavare mat prarthaniya maranugraha esha eva tvad bhritta bhritta paricharaka bhritta bhritta bhrittasya bhrittamiti mam smara lokanata. That's from the Mukunda Mala Stotra, verse 25. O Lokanath, O Lord of all, O slayer of the demons Madhu and Kaitava, please be merciful to me and grant my prayer that you may remember me as a servant of the servant of the servant of the servant of your servant's servant. Okay, let's read this one also. Exposing imposters. Once, Śrīla Śrīdhara Gosvāmī Mahārāja and his god brother Sri Svadhikarananda Prabhu, who later became known as Shishimad Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj, were preaching in Ambala on the order of Srila Prabhupada. There they met the superintendent of the Ambala railway station, who repeatedly requested them to meet a so-called sadhu proclaiming himself to be Bhagavan. Śrīla Śrīdhara Gosvāmī Mahārāja explains to the superintendent that it is grossly improper to accept a mortal person as Bhagavan, and Sri Sadhikarananda Prabhu declined by saying, "We do not have time to meet such people." Still, the superintendent strongly insisted. Although they had absolutely no interest in meeting an impostor, they relented and accompanied the superintendent to meet the so-called sadhu at the railway station. After arriving there, Śrīla Śrīdhara Gosvāmī Mahārāja initiated a conversation by saying, "Please introduce yourself to us." The so-called sadhu replied in English, "I am Lord Krishna. I am Mohammed. I am Christ. I am Buddha. I am Chaitanya." Śrīla Śrīdhara Gosvāmī told him, "You are speaking to a sensible person. Please speak accordingly." Hearing Śrīla Śrīdhara Gosvāmī Mahārāja's words, the fraudulent sadhu became irritated and said, "Joseph Stalin, the leader of the Soviet Union, is a dog to me. The president of the United States of America is a cat to me." Seeing their Gurudev becoming angry, his disciples asked Śrīla Śrīdhara Gosvāmī Mahārāja, "Why are you upsetting Bhagavan?" The superintendent said, "Bhagavan and his devotee are having a conversation. Do not interfere." Śrīla Śrīdhara Gosvāmī Mahārāja then asked the impostor, what is the cause of your irritation?" Without being goaded or pressed, the impostor himself explained, "I sacrificed so much for India's independence, but no one stepped forward to help me financially when my wife fell sick in Delhi. She died as a result. Am I mad that I will continue to sacrifice my life for those who have done nothing to help me? a soldier who fought so diligently for their freedom. They have cheated me, and now it is my turn to cheat them. Being shocked to hear this, many of the impostor's prominent guests left one by one. Śrīla Śrīdhara Gosvāmī Mahārāja turned to Sri Swadhikarānanda Prabhu and said, Je palayate sajivati. Those who discard the association of this wicked person will be saved. All others will be trapped. Śrīla Śrīdhara Gosvāmī Mahārāja, a recipient of Śrīla Prabhupada's mercy, had an uncanny ability to identify impostors, uproot their deception, and expose their true nature to everyone. This one's long. Let's read. There's Śrīla Bhakti Rakṣaka Śrīdhara. There's a section on his website where he shows the mantras that he got from all of Prabhupada's parikars. Let me find it. The mantras received from Śrīmad Bhakti Rakṣaka Śrīdhara Gosvāmī Mahārāja. So we'll read this and then we'll end with that. Just checking the comments. Okay. The mantras received from Śrīmad Bhakti Rakṣaka Śrīdhara Gosvāmī Mahārāja. Receiving mantras replete with priceless teachings. Śrīla Mahārāja used to say, although I received my diksha mantras from my Guru Padma, I received various mantras from the many disciples of Śrīla Prabhupada. In other words, I received mantras in the form of the many teachings from them. That's when they say Śrīla Mahārāja, they're referring to Śrīla Bhakti Rakṣaka Śrīdhara. So among those, we are presenting a few mantras here from the very words of Śrīla Mahārāja. The mantra received from Śrīmad Bhakti Rakṣaka Śrīdhara Gosvāmī Mahārāja. One day, Śrīla Bhakti Rakṣaka Śrīdhara Gosvāmī Mahārāja instructed me, saying, you should never lay emphasis on the rhythm, musical meter, melody, and other nuances of kirtan. Instead, always focus on its deep meaning and try to follow the inner mood of the Vaishnava who composed it. On another occasion, he instructed me, try to become Ugra Shrava, that is, always hear the narrations of Bhagavan's pastimes exclusively from the lotus lips of advanced devotees, for such narrations are tremendously powerful. I inquired, Maharaj, how will it be possible for me to always hear from advanced devotees? Śrīla Śrīdhara Gosvāmī Mahārāja replied, everything is possible through the medium of service. Serve advanced devotees whenever you receive the opportunity to do so. On yet another occasion, while sharing some incident from his life, he said to me, one time, your Gurudev Srila Madhav Maharaj requested me to chair a debate in Madras held by Dr. Radhakrishnan, a strong opponent of the school of Advaitavad, and Dr. Nagaraj Sharma. Oh my God, we just read this. So let's see. I'm not going to read the past tense since we just read it. I'll just read the conclusion though. In my concluding speech, I responded to this statement, saying, to the extent one remains in advanced association, to that extent humility naturally manifests in him. And to the extent one remains in inferior association, that much more pride is born in him. By the influence of advanced association, the mood of dasosmi, I am your servant, appears in Vaishnavas by the influence of and by the influence of inferior association, the mood of aham brahmasmi, I am Brahma, the absolute truth, appears in non-Vaishnavas. Vaishnavas do not exhibit show bottle humility. Rather, spontaneous humility manifests in their hearts innately by virtue of advanced association. In this manner, I received from Śrīla Śrīdhara Gosvāmī Mahārāja the following mantras. Always focus on the deep meaning of the kirtan and follow the innermost moods of the Vaishnavas who composed it. Become Ugra Shrava. Always be situated in spontaneous humility born from the influence of advanced association. This is the key to unearthing the profound meaning of the doctrine Chanarapi Sunichena as preached by Sriman Mahaprabhu. Yeah, I remember Śrīla Bhakti Rakṣaka Mahārāja would sometimes he would quote that verse that he quoted before of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. What is it? Mui se lagishta. What is it? Jagai madai hoite. Oh yeah, Purusher kita hoite mui se lagishta. Jagai madai hoite mui se papishta. Yeah, so he would say, was Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami speaking a lie? Was he just saying that? Because Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is so exalted, and he's saying that he's lower than a worm's stool. Is that like an exaggeration? And he said, for Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, not at all. Just like when you're standing in front of Mount Everest, you look up. You look up, it's so high. My Gurudev, when he'd give it this example, he'd say, you look so high that your hat falls off. It's so huge. And so in comparison, you feel yourself very tiny and insignificant. And in the same way, when we're with these advanced Vaishnavas, then we see ourselves in comparison to them. We're nothing. We're completely insignificant. And so that is how to get humility. It's not any false thing like, oh, I'm just, I'm not so great. I'm somebody glorifies you. Oh, no, I'm just a worm and stool. No, but if we're really always keeping our minds absorbed in our Guru Varga, who are so unlimitedly exalted, the topmost people, then this humility actually comes. But if we're always comparing ourselves to those on our level or those below us, then we'll start to feel like we're so great and important. So humility is all about where we're putting our focus, to whom we're giving our attention to. All right, Śrīla Bhakti Rakṣaka Śrīdhara Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol. So I wasn't focused when I was speaking totally. So Śrīla Bhakti Rakṣaka said that when he was saying when Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami was saying these verses, he was looking up to Rupa and Sanatan and to Raghunath Das Goswami and to all these exalted personalities, and so that's why he felt himself like this. I mean, it's clear, but I just forgot to mention that sentence. Okay, so. Jai Shishi Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shishi Radha Vinod Bihari Ju ki Jai, Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju ki Jai, Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupa Rashata Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Mahārāja Śrīla Gurudev ki Jai, Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupa Rashata Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Goswami Mahārāja ki Jai, Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupa Rashata Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Swami Mahārāja Śrīla Prabhupada ki Jai, Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupa Rashata Shishimar Bhakti Rakṣaka Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki Jai, Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupād Ashtatara Shishimād Śrīla Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosvāmī Prabhupada ki Jai, Nitya Lila Pravishta Mahabhagavat Śrīla Gorkishora Babaji Mahārāja ki Jai, Nitya Lila Pravishta Śrīla Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki Jai, Nitya Lila Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Śrīla Jagannath Das Babaji Mahārāja ki Jai, Shri Rupano Gauriya Guru Varga ki Jai. Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupad Rashata Rashata Shishmad Śrīla Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki jai. Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupad Śrīla Bhakti Vallabha Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki jai. Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupad Śrīla Bhakti Daita Madhava Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki jai. Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupad Shishmad Bhakti Pramod Puri Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki jai. Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupad Rashata Rashata Shishmad Śrīla Bhakti Rakṣaka Śrīdhara Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki jai. Tadiya Shubha Avirbhav Titi ki jai. Titi Palan Kari Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Swa Parshad Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath Shara Goswami Prabhu ki jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda ki jai. Namachay Śrīla Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Kshetra Mandal Gaur Mandal Vraja Mandal Mathura Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Sarva Abhishta Pradata Giriraj Maharaj ki jai. Shri Radha Kund Shama Kund ki jai. Shri Amuna Devi Ganga Devi ki jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki jai. Shri Bhakti Devi ki jai. Shri Purnamasi Yogamaya ki jai. Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev ki jai. Shri Virabhadra Prabhu ki jai. Tadiya Shubha Avirbhav Titi ki jai. Shri Janava Thakurani ki jai. Patit Pavan Shriman Nityananda Prabhu ki jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Shri Kartik Vrat ki jai. Vrat Palankari Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Urjeshwari Shri Vrishabhananandini Shrimati Radha Thakurani ki jai. Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shinitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavashacha Krishna Bhakti Pradadevi Satyavatai Namo Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dandavat pranams, everybody. So I think I'll go if the Wi-Fi is working. Yesterday the Wi-Fi wasn't working in the evening time, so I wasn't able to go live. But if the Wi-Fi is working tonight, then I'll go live to read the chapter by Mike Gurudev's commentary on verse 5 of Damodara Ashtakam. And also, maybe we could read about Veera Chandra by, I'm not sure. Maybe there's something in the Gaur Parshad Charitavali by Śrīla Bhakti Vallabha Gosvāmī Mahārāja. I can check that out. And we could read something about him. Wait, I said Virabhadra. Virachandra, did he have two names? Yeah, he had two names. Okay. All right, so we could read about him and also that chapter from Damodara Ashtakam. Or if not about him, we could read more Śrīla Gosvāmī Mahārāja. There's so many very important, juicy things to read by Śrīla Gosvāmī Mahārāja. All right, Hari Bol, everybody. Thanks, Rukmini Didi. Hari Bol. Jai Shri. Okay, see you all later. Hari Bol.